Hello, I'm Angie Wyatt. That's what the teleprompter says. I'm just reading what the teleprompter says. No, I'm not Angie Wyatt. Hello, I'm Ryan Patrick, and welcome to the Spiel. Is it the Spiel or the Spiel? How do you, the Spiel. I want to make sure I say it correctly. So it's the Spiel. There should be an H in it, if, you know, but whatever. Welcome to the Spiel. I'm reminded, people of a certain age who used to watch the old Johnny Carson show, The Tonight Show. He would have frequent guest hosts, and whenever you would tune in expecting to see Johnny Carson, and then you would see somebody like Lorne Green behind the desk, you were always disappointed. So I know how you feel right now when you're tuning in today to the Spiel and not seeing Angie's beautiful face. You've got this to deal with for the next hour. I'm sorry. So who am I? I'm nobody, but let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a background in radio and broadcasting and theater and podcasting, and podcasting is mainly why I'm here today, to tell you about a podcast that I do. I know everybody does a podcast, but I had to join the fray as well. And my podcast has to do with a classic television series called MASH. MASH is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. On September 17th, it turned 50. And so throughout the year, we're celebrating on our podcast, which is called MASH Matters, with interviews and behind the scenes stories and answering a lot of questions from listeners. We've been doing the podcast for about 4 years now. And it's really a good show. So if you are a fan of MASH, or if you know somebody who is a big fan of the show, please let them know about MASH Matters podcast. MASHmatters.com is where you can find it. We're also on social media. You can listen to the shows on YouTube as well. And the fun thing about the show is that I do the podcast with somebody who was on the show MASH. An actor named Jeff Maxwell, who played Private Igor Straminsky, who is the poor schlub who had to slop all the food onto the 10 trays in the mess tent for 9 of the 11 seasons. He is my co-host on the podcast, and together we bring an interesting dynamic because I'm a big fan of the show. I've been a lifelong fan of the show, and so I come at it from a fan's perspective. Jeff comes at it from a different perspective. It was a job to him. And so he has the behind-the-scenes stories, I have the fan stories, and together it makes for a pretty decent podcast, I'm told. I don't listen to it, but you should. MASHmatters.com. You can also find it on any of the podcast players of your choice, and you can listen to them right there on our website as well. And another interesting story quickly about MASH, on the 17th of September, on the 50th anniversary of the pilot episode, I was actually invited along with Jeff to go to Malibu Creek State Park, where they filmed the exterior shots of MASH. So we went to the MASH set and hung out with listeners and fans of the show that morning and did actually a live recording of our podcast from the MASH set. And if you ever get a chance to go out to Southern California, Malibu Creek State Park, and it's like a 2-mile hike into the MASH set, but once you get there, you get to see that beautiful shot. You go up on the helipad and you see those beautiful mountains with the helicopters coming over. You see Radar's back, him looking off in the distance. It gives you all the feels. So if you are a big fan of MASH, I encourage that. And again, MASHmatters.com, where you can listen to the podcast that Jeff Maxwell and I do together. And a little bit later on in the show, I'm going to show you some of my MASH memorabilia. So again, if you're not a MASH fan, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. There are going to be some other great things, though, on this episode. We're going to see an interview with Dee Wallace. The Dee Wallace. You remember Dee Wallace? She was the mom on E.T. She did Cujo and Howling, and there's this movie. I think it's a very underrated movie called The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. She's in that. You should check that out. Also, a musical performance by Jake McFerrin coming up. Emily Marlow is going to be talking about pumpkin production. I know nothing about pumpkin production. I'm going to leave here today, along with you, knowing everything that you've ever wanted to learn about pumpkins today. And then we're going to spiel it in the kitchen, yes, with Danny Thomas, who is a chef at the Bridge Bar in Nashville. So lots of great stuff on the way. We'll be right back.
This is not meant for eating. It's edible, of course, but flavor-wise, this is not where it's at.
So this book is a culmination of everything about how to manifest and create anything you want in your life.
Everything that I learned here gave me confidence to actually start working on other people's cars.
And if you don't feel like you know something, they'll teach you. You never feel like there's something you can't do.
Getting, the fundamentals I need to apply when I go into the field. I know I'll probably have a job before I even leave the program.
You're going for a degree, it's 2 years. That is a short span to learn, and classes are fast. Get you in, get you out, and get you the knowledge.
Let's give them pumpkin to talk about. I worked all night on that. We are back with the Marlow family from the Marlow's pumpkin patch up in, you're around Mount Vernon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How long have you guys been up there?
We've been up there since 1998.
Okay.
That's when we started.
All right. So a family business, 1998. We have Emily and we have Tim, and then Sharon and Mark. Well, thank you for being here today. I'm going to go ahead and say right off the bat that I know absolutely nothing about pumpkins. I know I like pumpkin pie, and I know how to carve one for Halloween. But beyond that, I don't know anything about pumpkins. They're a gourd, right?
They're a squash.
Oh, they're not a gourd?
Yes, a pumpkin's a fruit. So.
Now, wait a minute. I always thought they were a gourd.
No.
You mean I came up with all... I have a list of gourd jokes that I can't use them now. Okay, that's all right. So it's not a gourd, it's a fruit. Mm-hmm. So it's a squash. Mm-hmm. All right, well, you brought some pumpkins with you, and I'm already amazed at the differences between these pumpkins, because to me, I thought a pumpkin was a pumpkin, but there are a lot of different varieties. So let's talk about that, and let's also look at it from like a culinary aspect as well, how these can be used in different recipes and things like that. So what do we have first here?
First of all, I brought the typical, what you picture when you picture a pumpkin.
Yes.
So this is what you would find at any pumpkin patch, any grocery store. It's a jack-o'-lantern. It's a modern hybrid. These are meant for carving. There's not a lot of seeds. It's easy to, yank the guts out and slap a face on it. And so this is what typically Americans think of when they think of a pumpkin. However, this is not meant for eating. It's edible, of course. All parts of a pumpkin actually are edible. Everything from the stem to the seeds. But flavor-wise, this is not where it's at. Okay. Plus, it's got a super high water content, so it does not cook down well.
Okay, interesting. All right. So that's the traditional pumpkin right there. What the next one is, I believe, the Cinderella.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. This is probably, out of what I've brought, this looks most like that pumpkin, but there's still kind of a world of difference here. Mm-hmm. It's more red. This actually is a French variety. It came from the northeast region of France.
Ooh la la.
Yes. Around the 19th century. Mm-hmm. It's a sweeter pumpkin, lower water content. It's still thin skin. It's easier to cut into, but the flesh of the pumpkin is thicker, so you're going to get more yield if you cook with this variety.
Mm-hmm. Now let me ask, Tim, you handle a lot of the production, and so the different varieties, are there different challenges with raising the different varieties of pumpkins?
Well, the biggest challenge we have, at least for our operation, we got to have the right timing of it, because naturally you don't sell many pumpkins at Christmas, so you got to have it.
Right.
You got to have it during the fall. We try to plant. We plant anywhere from I'd say 30 up to all the way up to 60 different varieties of pumpkins, gourds, and squash on our operation.
Gotcha. And how many pumpkins do you grow like every year?
It varies, but we usually put out between 20 and 30 acres each year for our operation.
Yeah, okay. Well, and Grandma and Grandpa, you are kind of the brains of the operation, right? You're the most important people, let's just face it, at the pumpkin patch, correct?
Right.
Yeah. What's it like? What do you enjoy most about this time of year and your family and other families being involved with this?
Well, the most things I enjoy most is we have a corn maze and a slide, and it's really fun to watch the little kids go through the corn maze and down the slide.
Yeah, yeah. What do you enjoy most about this time of year?
Well, I take the tickets at the Haunted Barn. They have it too, and I do that on the weekends, and I enjoy watching the kids go through
and get scared to death.
Yes,
Yeah.
and some of them back out and come back out. They won't go all the way through. They get scared.
That would be me. Okay, we have a couple more varieties of pumpkins here. Now this one I'm intrigued by this one because, you know, usually when you think of pumpkins, you think of orange.
Yes.
This is definitely not orange.
Definitely not orange. This is a Jardel pumpkin. It did come to the United States in the 1930s, I believe 1932 to be exact. This pumpkin, again, great cooking pumpkin, thinner skinned, easy to cut. It's got a lot of pulp to it, so it cooks down really well. However, it is best suited for more savory dishes. So if you've ever tried a pumpkin curry or a pumpkin soup, this would be the one that you would like to grab.
Interesting.
So-
Interesting. And the blue color is just, it's different.
So
Okay.
this actually, they crossed a blue Hubbard squash and a Cinderella pumpkin. And that's how they got this pumpkin out of that.
Oh, very interesting. So we have one more pumpkin here.
Yes.
And this is a smaller one here. And a little paler. So what's this one?
This is Long Island cheese. This is one
Oh, I
of the-
love cheese.
Oh,
I love
doesn't
cheese.
taste like cheese, but this is probably one of the most requested varieties that we sell.
Really? Why is that?
Both because the color is great, it looks awesome. Whether you're going for a more traditional fall palette or if you're going for a more neutral fall palette in your decor, this is an easy grab. It works with a lot. However, this is probably the most excellent cooking pumpkin that we grow. It's got the highest sugar content. It cooks down wonderfully.
So if you're making a pumpkin pie, which is the best
This one. You
That's
want to grab a Long Island cheese.
right there. All right,
So-
that's the winner.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. Very interesting. I have learned so much about pumpkins today. So much. Thank you so much for being here and telling us about it. And if you're ever up in the Mount Vernon, Illinois area, stop by and see the Marlows. I'd be happy to have you. I had so many gourd jokes, but I can't. Now I do have. Okay, let me finish with this one. What do you get when you drop a pumpkin?
I'm not sure.
Squash. We'll be right back.
A 2-year-old had a heart condition, heart disease, and had to move closer to St. Louis Children's Hospital. So I went through a season of just depression and anxiety, but I just felt like God really gave me some hope and peace through that. He was always with me through it. He never abandoned me.
You're going to cook several things for us today, but what are we going to do first?
The first thing we're gonna make is my salted caramel chicken wings.
Ooh, doggy. Okay.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
It's time to spiel it in the kitchen, brought to you by our friends at Prairie Farms, here with Chef Danny Thomas from the Bridge Bar in Nashville, Tennessee. Hello, Danny.
How you doing, sir?
Good, man, good. Now I've just been watching you prepare and my mouth's already watering. So you're gonna cook several things for us today, but what are we gonna do first?
The first thing we're gonna make is my salted caramel chicken wings.
Ooh, doggy, okay, all right. So how do we start?
First thing we're gonna do is get our pot. We're gonna add 3 cups sugar, 1 cup water. Ooh. So we stir it up. It's gonna go from the cloudy color to the ginger ale color. Then once it turns the color of honey, we'll slowly temper our cream in. We'll stir it up. Then for the final glaze, we'll add the softened butter.
How long does it take to make the caramel? Because that's something that burns easily?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a very thin line between caramel and burnt. So for today's purposes, we're going to hopefully about 10 minutes.
Okay. Anything special about the wings?
The wings are deep fried, extra crispy.
Oh my. Those are two of my favorite things put together. Yeah.
So you got to make sure you fry them good and crispy. So when you take them out and you add the caramel to it, it's from the hot grease to the hot caramel to the hot plate to you, our customer.
This is something that's on the menu, Dr.
Yes, at the Renaissance Hotel in downtown Nashville.
The Bridge Bar Renaissance Hotel, downtown Nashville.
Yes, sir.
What is special about this particular recipe to you?
It's a labor of love. It's a passion of mine. And when I come out with it, I try to change someone's day. It's like I always said from culinary school, when I do the top button of my jacket, hopefully today I can change someone's day with one bite of my food. Everyone has a buffalo, everyone has a lemon pepper,
Yeah.
Everyone has a barbecue.
Yeah.
Till today, did you ever hear of a salted caramel chicken?
Never in my life.
So I got a trademark, don't try.
I won't. It's all you. It's all you. I noticed you cut up some oranges as well. What are the oranges for?
The oranges are for two different flavor profiles. You have the salted caramel that everyone knows, everyone loves. So the orange came out as in culinary school when I found that an orange and chocolate go together. So you have the caramel, the salt, you have the orange. It's totally gonna change the flavor profile.
Is there a particular type of food that you prefer to cook over others?
The food I mainly try to cook is comfort food. Slow and low, meat and three. When you come to our restaurant, when you come to the Renaissance Hotel, when you come sit in my Bridge Bar, I'm treating you like family. Because when you come to our hotel, you are the reason I'm there. So from wall to wall, it makes it my house and makes you my guest. It's my job to take care of you.
So now we're at the right consistency to add the cream and the butter, correct?
It gets about a temperature about 335, 350 degrees.
Okay.
You're gonna pull it off the heat. We're gonna grab our heavy cream. We're gonna slowly temper it in because this pot's gonna get really mad.
Oh, really? I'll just stand over here then.
So, ladies and gentlemen, when you do this, please don't have small children in the room with you. Use extreme caution. So now for our finished product, the cherry on top, should we say?
Yes.
We add our softened butter to give it a very shiny glaze.
So how do you know when you're done stirring? When it's all melted? Is that it?
It's all melted,
When
like now.
when you don't see butter anymore?
We're gonna pour this into our bowl here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So now we take our wings. And then we go up into our body.
I would have that all over my kitchen by now. All right, all that's left is putting it on the plate. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. So on one side, we're gonna have the kosher salt.
All right, let's try this. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So then I take an orange and just squeeze it on there?
Yes, sir. Squeeze it on there.
Okay.
You never thought chocolate and orange would go so good together.
I'm not a big wings guy. I would order this. So you've changed me, okay? I'm a changed man. Very good. This is so good.
No problem, sir.
Very
Renaissance Hotel, 3rd floor bridge.
We'll be right back.
We do IV sedation in our practice. I've been doing it for about 17 years. The big advantage of IV sedation is obviously for people that are scared to go to the dentist. It makes them feel relaxed, comfortable, and sleepy. It's also good because we do longer procedures sometimes, and we can do multiple procedures in one visit. It's something that makes us unique and is a great service to the public because there's no one else in the area that does that.
We have the TRIO program. It's a federally grant-funded program, and it serves students that are first-generation college students and/or has a disability. But I think the biggest, most significant advantage of the TRIO program is the mentoring services, because instead of having to go to several different offices, you have one mentor here that you can come to with any question that you might have.
I have fond memories of going to the movie theater in 1982 when I was 7 years old and watching E.T. the Extraterrestrial. If you, of course, like that movie like as much as I do, you no doubt recognize Dee Wallace, who played the mother, Elliot's mother, in E.T. She has been in a lot of movies, over 250 films. She's been in 6 television series and also featured in over 200 commercials. And she's written a new book. The new book is called Born, and you can find that on Amazon. And now we're honored to have an interview with the Dee Wallace. We're going to throw it now to our Spiel on television and entertainment critic, Tim Estilos.
Dee Wallace, it is a pleasure to chat with you. I've been looking forward to this interview for quite some time. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
There is so much to talk with you about, especially your career in film and television. But I want to hear about your new book, which is entitled Born, Giving Birth to a New You. Tell us all about that.
Well, a lot of people who know me as an actress don't know that I've also had a whole healing practice for the last 40 years. I'm a clairaudient channel. And so this book is a culmination of everything that the channel has put together for me about how to manifest and create anything you want in your life. So basically, it's a formula that applies to anything that you want to create: money, relationships, health, success, etc.
We live in a time, especially post-pandemic, where a lot of people are dealing with fear quite a bit. And I understand that part of the philosophy that you speak with people about or address in your book has to do with either coping with it or overcoming that fear.
Yes, and the best way to overcome your fear is to know that you are the only person that can do it.
We are now celebrating the 40th anniversary of E.T.
Unbelievable.
So, indeed, but this film has been such a touchstone for several generations of moviegoers. How has this film influenced your life?
Well, it certainly changed my career in a lot of different ways. People knew my name. It upped my money. It upped my cachet.
I imagine many people have perhaps asked you, when you were filming E.T., did you ever think that it would become as big as it did? My question would be, how could you not know that it would be a huge success working with Steven Spielberg?
So many things have to come together to make a blockbuster. The music, the editing, but most of all is the story coming out at a time when the general public can embrace it, when they need it.
You've been in so many films. You've been also in The Howling and The Frighteners. But the other film that sticks with me is Cujo. What was it like working on that film? Because I have to imagine you had some pretty challenging scenes to deal with.
That film, first of all, is my favorite film. And secondly, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Every scene you see, we probably did 15 times. You're working with a 6-year-old kid who was unbelievably amazing, I must add. And people don't understand that your brain and your chemistry, body chemistry, they don't understand that you're acting. Your brain really thinks you're in fight or flight for 8 or 9 weeks, right? So I blew my adrenals out. They treated me for exhaustion for about 3 weeks after I finished the movie. And it's my favorite film. I look at my work and what I was asked to do in that film, and I go, you know, I gave it every single pore of me as honestly as I could. And I'm really proud of my work in that film.
Well, Dee Wallace, this has been a personal pleasure for me. I've just enjoyed your work over the years. I'm looking forward to the new work coming up, and I just thank you very much for spending this time with us.
It's been a great half hour. Thank you.
All right.
So we have about 10 pounds of cheddar. What we're gonna make now is my pimento cheese.
I watched MASH when I was a kid with my mom, and I was like, oh, this is stupid. They're just wearing green and talking all the time. There's nothing funny about this. But as I got a little bit older, I really started liking it.
One of the things we do for the communities we serve is we offer free physical, sports and school physicals, and dental care. As you know, children, as they start entering their ages to go into school, they have to have a free exam.
We want to give back. We live here, our families live here, our children go to school here, our grandchildren. This is where our roots are. We give back, and that's what this CRHPC is about, is giving back.
We're back, spieling it in the kitchen, brought to you by our friends at Prairie Farms, here again with Chef Danny from the Bridge Bar over in Nashville. And we are gonna try something different, and I like this because it's a giant bowl of cheese. And anytime that I see a giant bowl of cheese, I'm happy. So, what are we gonna do with this? What is it? What are we gonna make?
What we're gonna make now is my pimento cheese.
Okay, all right.
So we have about 10 pounds of cheddar.
Yeah,
So you have your pimentos, if you will, just dump the whole thing in there.
All right, so we're just gonna dump that in here, like that. All right, got it.
Here's a little hot sauce, give it just a little kick.
Hot sauce, just, okay.
Here's the mayo.
Okay, so just.
It's about 3 cups of mayonnaise, maybe 4.
Yeah. Okay, all right. What else we got here?
We got some garlic powder.
Garlic powder. Now, do I pour the whole thing?
No,
just a pinch, right?
Give it a couple pinches.
Just like that.
Yep, maybe one more. There you go, perfect.
Okay, all right.
Then we have some white pepper.
White pepper, okay. Same thing, just just a little bit of pinch here.
Nice little dusting.
Okay, like that, all right.
The black pepper.
Black pepper.
And a little onion powder, and we'll call it a day.
And, all right, let me set it here. All right, so I just start mixing it up with my hands. All right.
Making a big mud pie.
Here we go. All right. This is the greatest thing that's happened to me in a long time. So you just
keep folding it, kneading it to the front, to the back, to the left, to the right.
You just, man, this is fun. You can get your kids involved with this. You really, I mean, this would be a fun family activity. And this is it. This is, I mean, there's not much more to it than this, right?
Well, this is what I do at my hotel, the Renaissance Nashville.
Yeah.
Because it gives it more of a rustic look, a more rustic feel.
Yeah.
And you serve it with the mesquite chips.
Am I doing this right?
Correct, sir.
This is it. This is what, I mean,
pimento cheese is just like gumbo. It's what you put in it. How much love are you gonna put into the pot?
So all these ingredients that you just showed, I mean, as far as if you can just experiment with it.
Right.
A little bit.
What recipe works for you?
I'm dripping everywhere on the floor. So now you got chips. Okay. Let me set that there. All right, what we got here?
Now we want to move this over here. Since your hands are already dirty,
you just
grab a handful and put it right in the top of the tray.
This is the best. Like that. Just slop it in there.
Just like that.
Just like that. And now, can I take my gloves off now?
Take your gloves off now for
I'm
sure.
taking those off now. I am making a total mess back here. So you just take, these are mesquite barbecue.
Right.
Okay. Just take one of these and dip it in. Like that. Yep. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. It's easy, it's quick. Whole family can do it. That's from Chef Ryan and Chef Danny. We'll be right back.
I highly recommend starting at a community college such as John A. because we are a smaller step for the transition to college. It's a big transition for anybody, and a lot of times for students with disabilities, it's an even bigger transition. So we have a great student success center here where we have a staff that's dedicated to really helping that student succeed.
Hey guys, I'm Jake McFerrin. This is my song, God of Refuge, the self-titled from my new album coming up this next year. When I'm standing face to face with the enemy, and it feels like I'm about to see defeat, you're the one to calm this troubled, raging sea. 'Cause you alone can bring a victory. Jesus, you alone will bring me victory. And Savior of my faith, the one who took my place, I've seen the mountains move. You're the God of refuge. And when I'm afraid, I know you keep me safe. Nothing's impossible for you. You're the God of refuge. In the midst of fear and doubt and anxiety, you're the God of peace to calm and comfort me. So I live praises to the world in only K, and forever it's your song that I will say. By the blood of Jesus I'm forever free. Oh, and Savior of my faith, the one who took my place, I've seen the mountains move. You're the God of refuge. And when I'm afraid, I know you keep me safe. Nothing's impossible for you. You're the God of refuge and Savior of my faith, the one who took my place. I've seen the mountains move. You're the God of refuge. And when I'm afraid, I know you keep me safe. Nothing's impossible for you. You're the God of refuge. My heart and soul, God of mercy, come and make me whole. God of refuge, be my everything. God of wonders, be my heart and soul. God of mercy, come and make me whole. God of love, be the change in me. God of refuge, be my everything. And Savior of my faith, the one who took my place. I've seen the mountains move. You're the God of refuge. And when I'm afraid, I know you'll keep me safe. Nothing's impossible for you. You're the God of refuge. 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 You're the God of refuge.
Hey, great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Angie's really bummed that she couldn't be here. But hey, I'm kind of glad she wasn't because I got to hear that live, and I'm a fan. That is you.
Thanks
Fantastic,
a lot.
fantastic. You have a very engaging sound. Tell us when and where did your love of music begin?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I kind of come from backgrounds of music, although my parents won't sing or play, but both sides of the family. My mom's side had a radio station and recorded vinyls back in the day. And my dad's side of the family, my grandpa used to play with Johnny Cash and some guys. Yeah, just had some really cool opportunities when he was younger. And
wow.
And so I just I kind of fell in love with it just through my dad. And on Christmas Day when I was 15, he taught me my first 5 chords. And like Bryan Adams, man, I played till my fingers bled. And on an old cheap $200 guitar probably, and just learned from there. And open doors have been coming since.
When's the first time you played like in public?
Yeah, so I would have been 15. It would have been for the local church there that my dad was pastoring at the time. And I specifically remember my best friend from childhood. He wanted to play drums, and he used duct tape to tape some markers, those old markers together to make drumsticks.
Yes.
And I made a paper football as a pick because we didn't know you could buy picks and drumsticks and stuff. And so we just had some cheap equipment lying around in an old rec building there. And we tried playing together and learned, like we taught ourselves how to turn on a PA system and thought we were gonna die just how old the stuff was, but started playing there and we thought we were legends, man. We were terrible. And the church there just let us sing on Sunday night and just, it was their patience that really just kind of opened some doors for us to learn and listen, and had some other people step into our lives at that time. So.
Who knew that all those football folding skills from years past would come in handy?
That's right.
So what kind of a message are you trying to convey through your music?
So at this season of my life, I think music just speaks volumes to people in a lot of different ways. For me, my faith drives the music that I'm trying to send out the message for at this time. And I know everybody's on a different faith journey, so I don't want to come across like you have to believe what I believe, but I just want to send a message of love and hope. For me, that comes through Jesus. You know, I tried studying all the different religions and everything out there, but I just found peace in just this God that I follow. And so it's just everything that's happened in my life, good and bad, has just come through faith circumstances. And currently fixing to work on my first full-length album. I've done some recording stuff, but God of Refuge, the song I just did, is the title of the album. And that came from a psalm I was reading when in 2020, right in the pandemic. We moved in the middle of it. And our youngest daughter, my wife and I, we have 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2. And our 2-year-old, she was born 3 days after the pandemic started. And we found out she had heart condition, heart disease.
Oh my!
And had to move here to be closer to St. Louis Children's Hospital. So all that, I went through a season of just depression and anxiety for about a year. Just really struggled with a lot of that. but I just felt like God really gave me some hope and peace through that. He let me have my feelings and my sorrow and my pain, but He was always with me through it. He never abandoned me. So I found this psalm in Psalm 46, and it says, God is our refuge and strength, a helper in times of trouble. And when I read that, that just resonated with me and just set the tone for this whole project and kind of the journey I'm on in this season for the rest of my music.
Your journey, where is it going to take you? What's next?
Yeah, I've aspired to just be on the road at all times, but with a wife and kids, that dream kind of goes in the past. I've had the privilege of doing that for about 6 years, but right now it's just my goal is to do what I love, to record music, to play and write songs that mean a lot to me, and my goal is just to let somebody that's feeling the similar pain that I went through. There's a lot of people that struggle with anxiety and depression, and everybody's got their problems. So my goal is that somebody will hear these songs that really needs to hear the song at the right time, whether they're driving down the road or they're at their house or they find it on social media when they're scrolling. And for them just to feel some peace and be like, yeah, you know, somebody else knows what I'm going through. Everything's going to be okay.
You mentioned social media. How can people find you on social media? How can they listen to your music?
Yeah, so I'm currently on Spotify. I have an EP on there from 2016 called Chipwrecks. You can get that on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Shazam, if those things are still going. You know, pretty much every music outlet you can stream. As well as I'm on Facebook and Instagram and even TikTok, and at Jake McFerrin is my handle. YouTube as well. And then I've got a website. Yeah, you can go to jakemcferrin.com, and that has all my social media and information and my music on there if you want to sample it and see what I'm all about on this and to follow this journey of this new album and project we're fixing to dive into.
All right, follow him and listen, download, do all that stuff. Fantastic work.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
There's no way they're all here.
They're all here.
Are you kidding me? How's the straight jacket? Thank you, Lucas.
And all the
Great on fish, great on beef. It's even good with chips.
Hey guys, I'm Michaela Lane and welcome to my tour bus.
Okay.
They're experiencing your enthusiasm, your love.
What is it that you want to achieve every day? What is that footprint that you're trying to leave?
All right, we're back, and I'm here with Prescott. How you doing, Prescott?
Doing great.
Good. And now, you know, when I started talking about MASH a little bit earlier, I saw your eyes light up, and it turns out you're a fan.
Big fan.
Yeah. What are your memories, your earliest memories of MASH?
So my mom really liked it, and that was like at night. She's like, okay, when MASH comes on, I just want to watch MASH. So at first, I kind of had disdain. As soon as that opening sound played, I was just like, no more cartoons. But I can greatly attribute it to shaping my humor. It's clever humor, very sarcastic. I love it.
Yeah.
So
You see a lot of Hawkeye in yourself, yeah.
Alan Alda is still my all-time favorite actor.
Yes. Well, your story and my story are very similar. I watched MASH when I was a kid with my mom, and when I was a kid, I hated it. I was like, oh, this is stupid. There's nothing, they're just wearing green and talking all the time. There's nothing funny about this. But as I got a little bit older and right before the series went off the air, I really started liking it. And then I got more into it in high school and college, and now I'm just a major MASH fan, and to the point where I do a podcast about it. But what I want to talk about today are some of the merchandise that was produced around MASH. I've started a MASH collection, and I brought a few things from my collection in today that I thought might be interesting. You know, when you're a kid and you play with action figures, you think of, you know, superheroes and Star Wars and things like that. You don't really think of MASH. But MASH did actually put out a line of action figures. This one is BJ. Now I have the entire collection, including the clinger in the pink outfit, which is the more rare of the whole ensemble. But we've had some listeners of our podcast email in and say, "What kid plays with a MASH action figure?" This kid. Something else that was manufactured near the end of the run, mash beer. I would not recommend drinking it. My understanding is that even in 1983, when it was produced, it was pretty foul. Of course, on MASH they had the still where they made their gin, and they also manufactured some mini stills. I have one of those as well. People of a certain age will remember buying Halloween costumes that looked like this, that you bought them in a box. This is a MASH Halloween costume. I'm not sure what year this is from. I don't know if it has a year on there. It does, but I don't have my glasses. This originally was $2.99 is when you purchased this off the shelf, but you have the mask here. I assume that's supposed to be Hawkeye. I think it looks more like Klinger, but and then you have the vinyl plastic bodysuit that you would put on with it and go around and trick or treat. So I love the fact that back in 1975 or whatever, there were little kids running around dressed as Hawkeye. I would hope they had a martini glass. That's all I hope,
Or at least like the meatball surgeon reference.
Exactly. Yeah. Scripts. So I have two different scripts here. Now the first one is a script called from the episode Inga. What's notable about this is that it's been signed by Alan Alda right there. This is one of several scripts that I have in my collection. This is not necessarily one that was used on the show. This is one that he sent out as promotional items. This one, however, was used on the show. This is my co-host on the MASH Matters podcast, Jeff Maxwell, who played Private Igor. He contacted me and asked me, what is your favorite episode of MASH? And my favorite all-time episode is an episode called A War for All Seasons, and it's from season 10. And so he dug through his scripts and pulled this out and sent this to me and gave it to me as a gift. But not the coolest thing he ever gave me. Let me show you what I consider like one of the prize pieces in my collection. So when you're on a TV show, much like the Spiel, you have a call time. The crew has a call time. The cast has a call time, and they distribute what's called a call sheet before the day before to let you know, hey, here's what time we need you here. These specific people need to be here at this specific time. Well, this right here is an original call sheet from the series that Jeff gave me, and this particular call sheet is very special because this is from the very last day of filming of MASH. The final episode, the penultimate episode, was called As Time Goes By, where the MASH camp buries a time capsule. And that's what this episode was. So this is the call sheet. This is the last call sheet that they ever put out for MASH. So you have the cast, and on the back you have the crew. Right there, but you have Alan Alda and Mike Farrell and Harry Morgan, Loretta Swit. They're all on there. So this is one of my prized possessions. I have this in a frame up on my shelf, and but I wanted to bring it in today and show off that because this, to me, it's not just a piece of paper. Because it comes from the last day of filming, it's a piece of history for me.
A lot of tears probably shed. I'm surprised there's not blotches on it.
It's you can find footage online on YouTube. Go on there and type in last day of filming, and you'll see there were hundreds of reporters on the set that day. Thus concludes the show and tell segment of this episode of The Spiel. Thanks for hanging out.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to twist my arm to talk about MASH.
We'll be right back. I love a good burger, and we're about to make a good burger. What we got?
What we're making today is called my Smash Melt. It's my play on a patty melt.
We continue to offer individual outpatient therapy, family therapy. We also offer video visits. We basically want everybody to know that you're not alone. Going through this pandemic, going through any stress that happens, anxiety, depression, grief, we are here for you.
We all have vulnerabilities. It's highly treatable, highly manageable, and there is access. And we want to make it so easy that you just walk in and we'll take it from there.
The Student Success Center is an interesting place because it brings together several different resources for students. The Tutoring Center, the Writing Center, counseling, the TRIO program, and disability services. What's amazing is that one student may actually need all of those services, and now we can all work really well together to identify what the student needs, make sure that they get it quickly, and then work collaboratively to make sure that support system stays strong.
We're back in the kitchen. Thanks to our friends at Prairie Farms, along with Chef Danny Thomas from the Bridge Bar in Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, I love a good burger, and we're about to make a good burger. What we got?
What we're making today is called my smash melt. It's my play on a patty melt. So when you toast up some sourdough bread right here.
Oh, I love sourdough.
We have some caramelized onions, pepper jack cheese, bacon, the patty itself, spices.
Okay.
Then we're gonna have a sauce to dip it in that we call come back, as in come back and see us again.
Nice. And this is on the menu at
Yes,
the...
sir. It's at the Renaissance Hotel, the Bridge Bar. Yes,
All
sir.
right, Bridge Bar and Renaissance Hotel. All right, so what are we doing first here?
We're gonna toast up the bread real quick.
Okay. Now you're from Alabama,
Yes, sir.
Originally. Wait, I think you grew up pretty close to where Angie Wyatt
Yes, sir.
grew up.
So then she grew up in Opp, Alabama. I grew up in Enterprise, Alabama. There's a 30-minute difference.
Oh, hey, it's a small world. So you got the bread, you got the bacon, you got the cheese, and you got the meat. Those are my four main food groups.
So now we're gonna add our caramelized onions. We're gonna go ahead and add a burger to the pan so it can warm at the same time. Pretty much a one-pot meal.
Yeah.
Go ahead and add our pepper jack cheese so it can be melted once in the pan.
Oh, that looks glorious. Look at that.
Then the last thing I have to do is make the comeback sauce real fast for you. This is the mayo, the ketchup, a little Worcestershire, and some spices.
We just put some ketchup, just ketchup and mayo in.
Ketchup and mayo.
Okay.
Add a little black pepper, a little white pepper, a little onion.
Now, these are basically the same seasonings we did for the pimento cheese, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Now what's that?
Worcestershire.
Ah, okay. A little bit of Worcestershire. Okay.
A little of that W sauce. Now you just take it and you mix it up.
All right. And this is just a dipping sauce then.
Just a dipping sauce.
All right. And there you have it. There you have it. The smash burger and the comeback sauce.
The smash melt comeback sauce.
Ooh, it looks good. I want to try the first bite without the sauce.
Right. So you have your base.
Yeah. Now I'm going to dip it in there.
Food is a universal language.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Chef Danny, it has been an honor to serve alongside you in the kitchen. Thank you for letting us into your kitchen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Chef Danny, Bridge Bar, Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you so much for
problem, sir.
coming
Thank
in
you for having
today.
me.
Go see him. Order this. Order the wings. Fantastic. We'll be right back.
My name is Martha Peebles, and I'm the Associate Professor and Program Coordinator of the Medical Assistant Program here at John A. Logan. I think the best thing for me is seeing my students blossom and seeing them in their jobs as medical assistants. Students come to me, they're working a job they're not real happy with, and then they come and they graduate and they get jobs. It's a change in their lifestyle, not only their career, but a change in their lives that is just remarkable.
We made it. Great show. We had a great interview with Dee Wallace and great music and learned all about pumpkins and ate very well. It was a good show and I didn't fall down once. I'm very happy about that. Thanks for tuning in today. Angie will be back. Don't worry, she will be back. But before we go, I was talking to Angie and some of the folks before we started filming, and I have a theater background, and so thought it might be a good idea. I don't know, this might be a train wreck, but we gave the guys here in the crew, we gave them a list of a show. I've been in a lot of shows over the last like 30 years, and so these are just a few of the shows that I have a couple of interesting stories about, and so they're just going to shout out a random show from my list, and I'll bore you with the story.
Yep, so we're going to start with To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. I've done To Kill a Mockingbird 3 times. And the first 2 times I had the opportunity to play Atticus Finch, which is, like one of the greatest roles in the history of theater and literature. And then the third time, the most recent time I did the show, I played Bob Ewell, who was the bad guy. And so it was very interesting to go from pure-hearted pillar of the community, Atticus Finch, to the scum of the earth. And I have never felt so much hate come from an audience as when I played Bob Ewell. So that was an interesting experience. Another show.
Let's go with The Addams Family.
The Addams Family is the most recent show that I did with Pyramid Players, and I did a total transformation. I went from this to Uncle Fester. And if you have ever watched The Addams Family, you know Uncle Fester is follically challenged. And so instead of wearing a bald cap, I decided to just shave it all off. So I did the full shave and the full makeup and took off the beard. So I looked really, really weird.
All right, so tell me about Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof is my all-time favorite musical and my all-time favorite role. Tevye, the milkman, who is the central character of Fiddler on the Roof, is probably the best written male role in the history of musical theater. And I've had the pleasure of playing him twice, and I would love to play him again. The one interesting story, the last time I played Fiddler on the Roof, the last performance, that morning, I got pink eye. And I got a horrible case of pink eye. It was the worst, like my doctor had never seen a case as bad as the case I got. My eye was completely swollen shut, and it hurt every time a light came on. And when you're on stage, there are so many lights. But I did the show. I went ahead and did the show that night with an eye swollen shut and watering and in complete pain, and I have no memory of that performance whatsoever.
All right, and then I have one last question, would be, tell me about your first time on stage.
My very first time on stage, it was the summer of my 6th grade year, and our community, I grew up in Carterville, Illinois. We did a community variety show, and the very first time I was on stage was a little dance number to the song Gary, Indiana. I was coming on stage, and we had these, we were all dressed up like overalls, and I had not paid attention. I was doing a quick change, and I put the overalls on, and I'm walking backstage. I realized I had put them on backwards. And so we had no time to switch them out, so I just threw the straps over, and I asked the person behind me, hey, can you attach these straps? Well, I don't know who that person was, because they are not a good strap fastener, because I walked out on stage, and both straps flew off, and the pants went down. So my very first time ever on any stage, in any show, I was pantsless. I loved theater from that moment on, and I've been pantsless a few other times, but we're not going to talk about that. So anyway, thank you for tuning in today to the Spiel. Hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to, you can find us. We're on YouTube, and you can just look for us. You know how to find us. Look for us, watch us. Watch old episodes, new episodes, and Angie will be back. I promise. You won't have to look at this again. I swear. But thanks so much, and hey, have a great day.
Doesn't matter anyway. We've been here one time too many. Wonder what will happen next. We both know that this ship's going down. Let's get up and